Hi, welcome to Todd's Tips. I'm Todd Barsness of Full-Time Voiceover Talent, and Todd's Tips is a feature of VO Marketing Pro. Now, if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to voiceover, just visit our Facebook page, website, or contact us via email. The links are located here. Yeah, we're going to continue the do's and don'ts. They're my do's and don'ts. They're kind of a subheading of Todd's Tips, but we're going through, maybe we've done, probably 3 months worth of do's and don'ts. And again, these are my do's and don'ts. I promised we were always going to do this. Demond, our producer, he puts up the caveats because these are all the things that I do for my voiceover business to make my voiceover business successful. And I count being a success primarily, not exclusively, but primarily how I make money, how much money I make. It's not a make money at any cost. I don't do things illegally. But the point being is I'm not in full-time voiceover to do anything but primarily make money. And then everything else cascades off of that. Okay, so there are the caveats so that you don't have to feel pressure to do exactly what I do. It doesn't necessarily equal, like, Todd makes $331,000 a year this last year. And so if I do all of these things, I'm going to make $331,000. Maybe you'll make more. Maybe you'll make less. But the point being is don't put pressure on yourself to be exactly like me. Take these and these do's and don'ts and adapt them and apply them to your life. But don't be quick at just blowing them off.
Or don't be just quick to adopt them.
Yeah, no, right. That's
Think
what I was
about
saying.
them and
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Slow down, stop.
It goes both ways.
Yep, it sure does. Thank you for that.
Sure, no problem.
So,
Hudson's Tips.
Well, you're probably going to start soon.
Oh, wow.
Hudson's do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So, since this is the first of the new year, as far as we're doing this taping, first of the new year, I thought I'd start out with this, a don't.
Oh.
I don't always follow the standard logic of many VO coaches and organizations. I don't always follow the standard logic of many VO coaches, standard logics, standard practices. Mm-hmm. And I don't do it on purpose. It's not like I went out there and said, I'm going to go a different path and try to prove everybody wrong. That's not, I didn't go out, start doing that. All I did was say, my mission statement is I want to make money. I've got to provide for myself and my family. And I want to not be a burden on anybody. And I want to be generous. Mm-hmm. And so I want to make money. Mm-hmm. And this is a business. It's not a hobby. It's full-time. I want to make as much money as possible. And so that was my goal. That was my mission statement. So I didn't go out trying to do things different just for the sake of doing things different.
Sure.
Nevertheless, here's what I mean by the fact that I don't always follow the standard logic or practices of so many voiceover coaches. So first of all, I'm going to do a bunch of do's and don'ts within the don't.
Oh, wow.
I do.
It'll be fun naming this.
Direct email marketing. And I do believe it's a numbers game. In other words, I don't spend a lot of time, and never have, and my assistant doesn't do that. We don't spend a ton of time personalizing and agonizing and finding out what the studio dog's name is and finding out what everybody's hobby is. I just don't do it. We go to websites. Do they use voiceover talent? Are they in the market for voiceover talent? And then we approach, about the most personalization we do is finding the name and the name of the contact person.
This is your first contact, correct?
Yep.
If you get a warm response, if you get a client and they start going back and forth, then you talk about those things. But the first initial, because of probably what
it's
you'll
a numbers
say.
game.
Yes,
yep,
exactly.
It's a numbers game. I want to get as many out there as possible because you might spend 25 minutes trying to figure out what the studio dog's name is as you search and search and search, and then they hit delete.
They never read it.
They never read it. It never gets to them.
That's fun.
So anyway, that's my thought on direct email marketing. And by the way, it's worked for me. Second, I don't have a website now. I've taken care of that. A gentleman asked a question about why he couldn't find my website. Well, I don't have one because it's been spammed and hacked and it's kind of been destroyed. I want to have a website, and that's been one of my goals for 3 years now, but I haven't done it because I've been so busy working. And so I'm going to try to get a website this year. This is going to be the 4th year in a row I have it as a goal. But my point is you don't necessarily, if You've done a lot of work marketing yourself. You don't necessarily have to have a website. I want to have a website. I think you should probably have a website.
I'm going to get one.
You're going to get a website. My point is, again, that when you've been around long enough, you've developed a lot of contacts, you've done a ton of direct email marketing, you have a lot of clients. Having a website, for me, isn't important. But I still want to have one because I just want people to be able to find me and know that I'm real and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to tell you don't have a website by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just telling you I don't have one and why. Another thing is I don't build out my website or drive potential clients there. I did when I first got it about 8 years ago, but I just don't because I don't want people to have to click and click and click and search and search. And so I don't build it out. I don't vlog. I don't blog. I don't do a lot of, when I get my website again, it's going to be one page and it's going to have my demos there. Feel free to jump in if you want, because I've got a bunch yet.
Okay.
I do Fiverr, Upwork, and Voices.com. Now, Fiverr's been down this year a little bit. I've got to learn Upwork from you, and I'm working on that. And Voices.com will probably be down, just will. Between Voices.com and Fiverr, I made about $125,000 last year. So I've got some work to do. But nevertheless, I do Fiverr, Upwork, and Voices.com. A lot of coaches say you can't do that. It's hamburger money. You won't make any money doing it. You're cheapening the industry, all of those types of things.
That's money. $125,000. Yep. You've made over $400,000 on Fiverr alone.
Yep. Another thing is I don't make any money from agents, nor am I currently pursuing agents to represent me. Now that may change. I might find an agent I want to work with, or maybe I'll go looking. I don't know. I've had agents in the past. I've made very, very, very little money from agents. This year I made zero from agents out of my 331,000.
Record year, by the way.
I don't follow. Here's one that I'm going to go into detail more in another do's and don'ts, Todd's tip. I don't follow SAG-AFTRA, GVAA rates, and I don't need moralizing people telling me that I'm selfish or that I somehow need their protection. I just don't need that. I didn't even know there was a GVAA or SAG-AFTRA for the first 5 or 6 years. I just was trying to make money. I was just trying to pay the bills. And I don't need somebody telling me that I'm hurting the industry because I'm not following it's some random. It just is. I mean, there's some data behind it, and I don't have a problem if people want to follow it. Do you do you. I just don't need somebody telling me because I don't follow it, and I'm just fine. I can be successful, and so can you. I don't attend conferences, meetups, or anything like that. I'm not against them, probably. I've never been to one, so I can't speak strongly about it. But I just don't. I don't attend conferences or meetups. I'd rather just stay home and market and make money. I do like to work, and this affects my rates. I won't go into detail. We'll go into detail more in the coming weeks and months. I'm sorry I'm going a little long here, but I'm just going to keep going because this is kind of a springboard for all the do's and a lot of the do's and don'ts I'm going to be talking about in 2023.
Sure.
I don't spend any time researching new gear. Now, you may need to spend time researching new gear because you might be brand new or you might be upgrading. Once I got something that I knew people would pay for and they paid for it a lot and over and over and over again, I'm just sticking with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm not going to spend a minute searching for new gear because I've got what I have.
Unless it breaks, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a gearhead, if you want to call it, or a gear geek, then go for it. If that gives you joy and you like to blow off some steam, I'm just telling you that I don't do that. And I think there are some people that spend too much time thinking about gear and tweaking it and stuff, and they're already getting paid for their great sound. So why?
Or maybe they're using it as a crutch they think that it's, well, my gear's not better, so I'm not, instead of it being their delivery or the way that they use their voice.
Yeah, once you get gear that professional video production companies will pay for, I just stay with it because it's just like golfing. I mean, if you're a pretty good golfer, maybe getting some different clubs will help, but if you're terrible, getting new clubs, it's not going to help you be much better, if any. Couple of more. I do some social media, but I don't waste time doing it. You have to decide what that is. Some people do it for pleasure. I think a lot of voiceover talent complain about that they can't make any money because they're spending a lot of time posting and doing all sorts of stuff like that, and they're not spending the time marketing and working on their skills. I don't currently do any VO coaching for money, and I'm in my 13th year, and I think that's a rarity today, and we'll talk more about that. I do share my VO only numbers. That's all I make. I don't make any money doing anything else, and I do share them publicly. Again, that's a rarity. And the reason I do that is because, and again, I'll go into detail in weeks to come, because I believe our industry needs accountability and transparency, especially for those who coach. And lastly, I do run my VO business as a business, and as a business, my business has one main priority: make money. Now, I'm not being cocky. I don't feel like I'm edgy or trying to get clicks on our videos. I'm not trying to get people to do exactly what I do. I'm just trying to get people to do one thing: just stop and think. Just stop and think. Don't be sheep. Don't go down the path because there's somebody that has a nice microphone and a video telling you what to do. Don't just follow them. They tell you that they're successful, that they're a great coach, or they tell you somebody else is a great coach. Well, just be careful. Don't be sheep. Just stop and think. Don't get pushed. So that's why I say that I don't always follow the standard logic of many VO coaches.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Not bad, as in lots to think about. And that's something you've taught me to do, is to stop and think about things. And I obviously have the benefit of following you, so it's second nature to me. But
we'll make sure that we revisit these because we went through them quickly, and they deserve at least a couple, 3 minutes of talk time. So, again, you might disagree. That's fine. If you're finding your path with a coach, or you're finding your path to be successful, you do you. Your business is none of my business, but just take time to stop and think.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for joining me for Todd's Tips. And if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to VO, the links are listed here.